checks, captures, threats. That's what we're going to go over today. Today is day 52 on my journey, or 53 on my journey to 2000. And I learned some new stuff, which we're going to go over. But first, I want to talk about checks, captures, threats. And how even in a losing game, if you look out for those three things, you could win the game. So in this first game, the game starts out pretty normal. It's a Rui Lopez, very normal stuff. I bring the bishop because in case he takes, I want my pawn structure to be normal here. And I kick out the bishop. It's kind of annoying. I'm trying to neutralize, right? We learned that the other day. I want to neutralize it by taking it out of my area, my half of the board. And I start developing pieces, and I completely take the bishop out, and I castle. I castle because I think about check, capture, threats, and I'm thinking, oh, if I take here, can he come with the knight and do some really annoying things? Maybe not, but it looks a little bit annoying. Like, he can't take the bishop because the knight is defending, but whatever. Let me not worry about that stuff. Let me castle. Here he attacks my bishop, and here is a concept Hikaru talked about in a video I watched. All the videos I watched will be in the description. That idea is when you have a clean trade, when you just have to trade one piece, think about how good each piece is for both sides. You know, a good piece versus a bad piece. And this has to do with checks, captures, and threats, right? When you look for checks, you look for checks. When you look for captures, you want to see if the capture is worth it, even though, you know, you're getting 3 points of material and they're getting 3 points of material. Is it worth it in this case to take the knight? I thought it wasn't worth it because I help the queen get closer to my king, and I take out a bishop who's actually has a lot of access point. Like, my bishop is annoying my opponent right now, attacking the knight and pinning it to the queen. So I leave my bishop there, and I push this pawn forward, seeing that the knight can attack my bishop and wanting to kind of have this safe spot in the back. That being said, I don't know if this bishop is that worth it here, because it's staring at two pawns that aren't moving, but the center is not really, we haven't resolved issues here yet, so maybe this would break open and this light squared bishop would become much more useful. Anyway, he brings his knight, I bring it back, he attacks again, and I bring it back. Here my best move was apparently to move the king aside, so I guess that if he takes, I take back, opening my rook, and I have these pieces coming into the position, and everything is fine. I didn't think like that. I thought of that move, but I wanted to save this bishop. And now he has two knights that have this nice outpost and this annoying spot that I have to take care of. So what I do is I first focus my attention on this bishop, which is very annoying. So I kick it out of its position. And then I kind of work with this side of the board because I'm saying, hey, let me wait to see what you're going to do, right? Checks, captures, threats. There are no checks. This is the capture I'm contemplating, but then the knight just comes in. It doesn't make sense, so I'm not doing it. And here he takes, and I think this was a terrible move. And even the engine says it's an inaccuracy. And the idea is this knight is very annoying to me. It's attacking my position, and the only way to really kick it out is by pushing my pawn, I feel like. Because if I were to take, then his other knight gets into the position, and it's the same exact annoyance, right? And I don't want to move pawns in front of my king and make my king weaker. So he takes, I take back happily. And here I don't want to force my queen to move, but I do. I move it because I'm like, if I take, his pawn is going to get closer to my king, you know. And, you know, you have to think again about how good each piece is. I don't see this knight as a threat as of now, but if need be, later on, I'll take it. So I move my queen, he brings his queen, and at this point I finally take. Apparently not necessary, but I think, you know what, there's too many things coming into the position. It looks like maybe he could even sack something and come in with a very scary threat, right? Checks, captures, threats. He could come in with a scary check threat, something like taking, making me take back, and then he comes with the bishop attacking my rook, and he could come in with a check over here maybe so it doesn't lose his queen. So I just take care of the knight, and I move my queen here. And this was my inaccurate move. I don't know exactly why it was inaccurate. Maybe it's because the queen doesn't really do much on that diagonal. But here I have a plan. Checks, captures, threats. I'm thinking before he could set up and bring his strong pieces, let me annoy his queen and maybe even get my own queen to f4. Maybe I could give a checkmate threat. And I'm thinking, okay, he moves the queen out of the way. You know, here, if he moves it here, I just go back and I'll be annoying to him. Or I go forward. And the reason I go forward here, this is the wrong move to do, but the reason I go forward is because I anticipate him to attack, and I'll just have checkmate. Now, it's kind of stupid to think, oh, my opponent will do a move that's not that good, but my opponent was playing super fast. That's why you don't play super fast. Look at the time left. We started with 15 minutes, 10 seconds added per move. Right, my opponent is playing super fast, and so I kind of fight on the king's side, going for this plan, and just like that, he blunders mate. So looking out for checks, captures, threats, every move, or at least, once in a while, it can, especially in critical moments where you feel like a lot is going on, it could be very useful. I looked for this checkmate threat, and it happened to exist. So I went for it. Now, if my opponent played well, then he would break open the center, and I thought he would basically take away the protection of this knight. I'm not even sure what how all of this works. Apparently the bishop takes here. And I guess I would be down a pawn. An intermediate move. Look at that. He could just be super annoying. Look at that. Wow. Very interesting. So I had a lot of threats from pawns, but neither of us saw that, and I get the mate. The second game here, I play with 93.2% accuracy against an 1100 rated player. And if you're an 1100 rated player, maybe some of this stuff will make sense and help you out. So checks, captures, threats, right? First of all, I mess up the Vienna. I actually watched, like, after this game, I watched like 4 videos on the Vienna Gambit, which will be in the description. And like openings, I don't want to emphasize openings, but I think at my level, learning a little bit about openings is good. Here, my best choice when people accept the gambit is actually to attack. I saw that, but I thought, oh, if he comes here and I take, how do I stop this check? How do I stop this threat? It looks very annoying. Apparently, I just keep walking my king. That's the best way to stop it. I come here to stop any queen checks over here. And then the game somehow continues. And this is super winning for white. Look how crazy this position looks. The bishop now protects the knight. And his queen is kind of off sides, right? I wasn't willing to do that, I guess. So I come in like this. I bring my knight. I take control of the center. And I take. And here my opponent takes. Again, when you have a clean trade, think about how good each piece is. Right now, his bishop is forcing my knight to be stuck on the f3 square. Check, capture, threat, right? If he captures, I'll take back. He's going to lose a bishop that's actually being really annoying. It's not letting my queen kind of live in peace, right? So when he took, he not only let me take, but he also gave me access to this, the F file, right? I have access here, and this is open, semi-open for me, meaning that there's no pawn on this file, only the enemy pawn, so it's half open. And I could bring a rook here, and I could actually threaten some serious, scary stuff. That being said, I castle on the other side, push, and then I take this pawn. I realize that that's a free pawn, and he actually has no way of saving his rook. If he brings his knight out, then I just eat his knight. I saw this move. That looked like an interesting move. But again, I just take his rook, and now his knight is hanging. So I take, he brings the knight back, I take, and I mean, at this point, it's very hard to, like, win. But check, capture, threat still works here. And here I'm fighting on the left side because I'm scared. I'm scared of his semi-open attack on my king. I'm looking at areas where he could check if that does anything to me. And I want to resolve the area there first. I push this pawn to allow my bishop to use it. And he blocks in his own queen. Because I know his plan was to double his rooks, right? He wants to attack. Actually, I was prepared for this. Because I thought I still win here. Well, here I would take the queen, obviously. But even if I didn't have the opportunity to take the queen, I was prepared for something like that. Anyway, he takes because his queen is trapped, so he has to give up his rook. I get into the position, and I'm okay with trading because I'm up a piece, more than a piece. And here he makes a very big blunder. Check, capture, threat. His king is blocked in. The knight covers this square. And he's letting me checkmate. And this is how it works. And that's a checkmate. That's it. So checks, captures, threats, really important to think about. They could really help you improve. Another few things I learned is bastions. A bastion is like an outpost. All it means is that your piece has... Oh, wait. This is when you have a clean trade, right? Like, you want to think about, is it worth it to take here? Do I want to get rid of the light squared bishop? But anyway, bastion is when you have a piece that can't be attacked by pawns. So this knight can't be attacked by pawns. It already passed by the knight. Interesting, like, chess terminology. X-ray is when you're X-raying a piece. So this rook is X-rayed to my queen. Because after something like this, I could take. The rook is kind of indirectly looking over there. It's X-raying. I still don't 100% understand that. And then there's an umbrella. An umbrella is the idea that you can use your or enemy pawns to give an umbrella for your king. So the rook doesn't rain down with checks. Maybe this isn't the best example because you have this, and that's mate. But the point is, in endgames a lot, you could use other pawns to kind of protect your king and push it forth. So that's what I learned today. That's what the games I played. I hope you guys enjoyed. My rating is now 1539. Say 1539 in the comments if you watched this far. I really do appreciate it. And have a great one. Bye-bye.